mean, to ask any of these questions is to invite a terrible feeling of disappointment.
I think that's true.
Can you tell us who Uma Thurman is?
Why, she's an actress. I saw her in Harry and June before I walked out of it.
Why did you walk out of it?
It was boring.
Richard Brookhiser of Rochester, New York, and Christopher Hitchens of Portsmouth, Hampshire, England. You're living, though, in New York City?
That's right.
And you're living?
In Washington, D.C.
And our call is from Martinez, California. Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
All you gentlemen.
Good morning.
Morning.
Oh, I have to turn my TV.
What's on your mind this morning?
Well, I just thought I'd try and get through to Mr. Hitchens, and the first time I dialed, I got through. I don't even know what to say now because I just woke up. It's pretty early out here.
Did he startle you when you woke up?
I know just how you feel, by the way.
A couple of quick questions. Are you going to come out to the coast to flog your new book, which I'm do a reading here in the Bay Area?
Yes, I am. In fact, I'll be in the Bay Area over Christmas. I'm hoping to get a reading or two organized.
Okay, I was going to say, don't be too hard on us baby boomers, you know. It's we had a lot arrayed against us there. But I wonder, it seems to me that I don't understand why, with all this talk about the liberal media, why there isn't one single left network. I mean, I think with all the resources of the left, if it were able to focus, that's what we should do.
I've always thought that Mr. Lamb was the chief whip and organizer of the left on the air.
Caller...
Because he's committed to objectivity, and as Lenin used to say, only the truth is revolutionary.
Caller, let me anticipate that the conservatives calling will say that that's what those networks are, the main commercial networks, that they are of the left. Would you agree with that?
That which?
The main networks, the commercial...
They're not accused of being the left. They're accused of being liberal, which is totally different. But even that they're liberal is such a joke. I mean, let's talk about who owns them. The gentleman, I'll leave that to the journalists here. But
where are you on the political spectrum?
Well, I'm a Christian anarchist myself. If you were going to characterize it as that, anything.
And Henry Adams.
And many others. I'm someone that believes that the Christian right is neither.
Oh, I think it's Christian, all right. I think it's right also. I thought that's actually one of the worst bumper stickers I've seen this year. It says the Christian right is neither. I would say it's obviously both.
The notion of having one's own network, I speak from across the spectrum to you, it often bemuses people. And I think it's a mirage. I mean, I've sat in on discussions of why don't conservatives buy ABC. There was a period when it was in bad financial shape, or why don't we do this, why don't we do that? And ultimately, it's not worth thinking about, because even if you were able to do it, you'd ghettoize yourself. And the best thing to do is to, you know, as Mr. Hitchens does, as I try to do, just do your work and hope to do it better than other people and get in mainstream places.
Yeah, and don't watch too much TV.
Providence, Rhode Island. You're next.
Good morning.
Hi.
Great job. I appreciate your service here.
Welcome.
What amuses me is as follows. When the Reagans got into office, we had a bombshell about some dishes, a Hollywood connection, and then we had a bombshell years later about some dresses that Nancy Reagan borrowed or something. And now we have the real juicy Hollywood scandal that, oh, how these left people and liberal people would love to have had on Reagan or anybody else who's particularly Gingrich. And I'm talking about Travelgate and Mr. Thomason and that whole gang, and with the White House pass, and they moved in and they abused 7 career civil servants to get their way, and how it's not even being touched or covered, how it is the definitive scandal and the definitive story about this Clinton and his kind in power now, how if it would be Reagan, it would be absolutely bombs away. And I just think that sooner or later, this will come out. I myself am one of the grassroots non-Christian, and I use this as such ammo to keep about 20 or 30 votes out of the Clinton column, although it's futile here in Rhode Island. But I think this particular story and the fact that it's not being covered is all the evidence I need that there's a loathsome, sickening liberal bias in this country. If this was Reagan, this is all we would have heard.
All right, thanks.
Well, look, in defense of liberal reporters, I think one thing that that saves Clinton is what used to be called, in discussions of nuclear missiles, fratricide. You didn't want all your nuclear missiles coming in at once because they'd blow each other up and not the target. And this was called fratricide, and it was something to be avoided. The reason Clinton escapes time after time is that there are so many scandals associated with him, and they all crowd each other out and have the effect of negating each other. So I think that's what keeps him healthy.
And yet I have the impression that Senator D'Amato and his hearings are reported all the time. I mean, I don't think that it's possible to say that the story's been buried by any element of the media. Probably the Washington Times puts it on the front page more often than the Washington Post, but there it all is every day. And I mean, it seems to me also very clear that the slightly banana republic way, well, make that the very banana republic way in which Mr. Clinton and his wife ran the state of Arkansas, was imported by them to some degree to Washington, and that's been found out, and it's a permanent boil on their back.
Here is the front page story today on Whitewater in the Washington Times. Hillary's mystery phone call apparently routed to...